What's up, world? This is DJ Ollie Red again with another episode of the All Things House podcast. Today, we got two very special guests from the LA area. We got Brett Hart and Mark Cole. What's up, fellas? How you guys doing?
What's going on, man? I'm doing well. I'm very happy to be here, man. Thank you for having us both.
Definitely. Very excited to have you guys on. So, introductions. Brett, we'll go at you first, brother. Tell the audience a little about yourself.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Inglewood, California. So I grew up on a lot of 90s West Coast hip hop, a lot of Tupac, a lot of Dog Pound, and sort of that West Coast influence of the bass line. Driven stuff was really my backbone for my musical findings. And then 7th grade, I joined a symphony orchestra, so I played bass. So it was more bass-driven stuff, but I played symphonic bass. So we did a lot of Vivaldi and a lot of Mozart and things of that nature. And then my freshman year of college, I spilled a Gatorade on my laptop. So I got a brand new laptop and there was GarageBand on it. And that was sort of the entryway into making music on the computer and just like figuring things out. But prior to that, I had always messed around with beats. I had a Dr. Rhythm drum machine. And so I was always just like fooling around with it. But I started producing 2005, and then I was bouncing around between like hip hop and different forms of that, but really just like figuring out the software, figuring out like the way things work. And then my first introduction to dance music, really, it was Benny Benassi, Satisfaction. I remember when that record dropped, and then early Deadmau5, and then early Deadmau5 and Cascade, those like synthesized sounds really drew me in. And prior to that, there was a little bit of trance music that I was big into because of my symphony background. There were a few parallels that I found in that. So I guess, from then I started fooling around with DJing through college. I was a Buckeye, so I went to Ohio State 2004 to 2008, and then through then I built relationships with a few singer-songwriters and rappers and this and that. When I graduated from school, I thought I was going to get a real job because that's what my family wanted me to do. That didn't last for too long, man. I couldn't really sit at a desk all day unless I was working on music. So I just, thankfully, I was able to do a little bit of modeling, some like fitness stuff, like here and there. Saved up some money, bought some decks, and just figured it out. And since then, I've just been really figuring things out for the last decade. But thankfully, I got sort of my break around 6 years ago when I got signed by Nike as a DJ. So I did a lot of Nike stuff for Nike football, basketball, things of that nature. So events and things like that. But still, it's like my love was always dance music. It was something that always drew me in. It was just that feeling of it. It was always like feeling good, And
for sure.
And anybody that knows me, it's like I really pride myself on just like feeling good every day, as best you can. I mean, every day is different, but that's really what dance music is for me. It's just that feel good vibe. And I started going to festivals and I started going to shows, and I was like, this is a world that I want to be in.
For sure.
And then, so the Bret Hart brand has been really growing for the past 6 or 7 years, like really strongly. And you know what? It's like this. I mean, you have good years and you have so-so years, or you think you have so-so years, but you know what? Just as long as you're building, it's a good year.
Sure.
So I'm very thankful for those successes. And I mean, there's a good amount that I've done. I've put out a little less music than I would have liked, but from the DJ perspective, I've been able to do some shows at the Velasco Theater. I've had a few residencies at the Dream Hotel, the SLS Hotel, the W. So I've done a lot of the pool parties and things like that. And then, but LA is different though, because the dance music scene is a very niche, and there's this underground scene that you sort of gotta drive your way into. And then there's that mid-level scene doing the pool parties and doing things of that nature. So I've just been sort of bouncing around, and I'll go into more of this, but Mark and I met a few years ago, 2 years ago now, and he's really been a blessing to know. I mean, there's a few guys that I know well that have been inspirational to me and have been very supportive, and dudes that I've learned from. Mark is definitely someone that I've learned from, someone that I've been able to bounce ideas off of, and someone that thankfully, because I share a studio with him, I'm able to really vibe with him and just build that energy and that support system and that feeling of, I think we can do this.
Yeah, the homie. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man, Mark's a brother to me, so I'm gonna let him jump on, man. But yeah, it's basically,
yeah, man. That's the truth, man. That's definitely I believe that Creator gave us two families, man. Your blood family and you got a spiritual family. And
for sure,
when you open to it, you'll meet your spiritual family.
For sure.
He's definitely one of those. He's, that's my brother, man.
Yeah, my brother.
We were actually thinking about calling everything the Brethren. That was one of the
I was one of the names.
Early names of the company.
Yeah.
Along with a few other funny names. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. A little bit about me. I didn't do music necessarily young like that. I was an athlete, man. Baseball, football.
Yeah.
So I was an athlete most of my whole life until a guy I played ball with. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
So that's where I was born and raised. And a guy I played ball with out there, he was like, yo, my uncle's got a studio, we can go in. And I used to rap. So he's like, we can go in, we can rap. And then I went in and it wasn't that. He was like, yeah, y'all can clean up. Intern, we'll give you some cigarettes, like that. So, but I did, I got to do a little bit there and just to like mess around. And then I messed around with like actually making the music on like the MPC and a bunch of drum machines. So that was like my first experience doing music.
Yeah.
And so one day, man, I came in and he was drunk. One of the producers that I really looked up to, man, he was just like, yeah, man, look, you need to take them raps you got, take them upstairs into the fireplace and throw them in the fire. And he was like, no, but he said, but yo, I'm serious. Stick to the beats. He's like, yo, you got that down, man. Like you actually got some type of like talent in that. So stick to that. And that hurt my feelings, man, because I was like, yo, I like these raps. I'm writing these.
Yeah.
But
what year was this?
I was maybe 15. Yeah, so 15. So that would be 2003 or 4, 2003.
Okay.
So yeah, man, that was my first like, okay, I'm gonna just do the beats then, because he told me my raps was whack, and I looked up to him, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna listen to him.
Yeah.
And then I started doing beats, man. I was always kind of eclectic and just different, even with hip-hop stuff, which I didn't agree with what he was saying,
Yeah.
I think the hip-hop was dope. It was like, it's just different. I like to just do different stuff.
Yeah.
So from that mentality, I like different music, and I would like just find just different stuff, and that's how I actually got into my first experience with dance music, being so close to Chicago. Like there's a lot of house and there's a lot of, even Detroit, like being in the Midwest, there's a lot of techno and a lot of house. And man, it hit me like that. Like the minute I heard, I was like, okay, I love this. Why have I not heard more of this? Because it was so underground, you know, at that time, man. It was underground, just period. But at that time, you couldn't hear it. Like, you really had to have satellite radio or like, you know, at the clubs. So that was my first like, oh, I love you. And then I let the athletics go. I ended up going to Full Sail and in Orlando for music production, because I'm a producer first.
This
is before I started DJing. But I was really into dance music, and my Pro Tools instructor, he was a trance music producer, and I loved him. I loved his music and everything. And I don't know if it's me or it's my face, but teachers don't like me, and they just like, they like to pick on me. So one day he came in, and somebody behind me said something from a movie. He was like, "Be yourself, be yourself," from Just Friends, and he thought it was me. He's like, "Yo, get out!" He's trying to kick me out. I was like, "Yo, it wasn't me." So anyway, it was this whole thing, and the next day, I guess I don't know, he's having problems with his family, or whatever. But he came in, he apologized, and he was like, "Yo," and he felt so bad, so he was like, "Yo, I know you into dance music, and you like to go out and party, so I want you to meet my one of my good friends, Mike Dunn. He has a club out here. He spins at." So I was like, all right. He's like, "Y'all can drink free. Just tell him." I was like, all right, let's go. We go out, and I see, like, I get to this. I can't remember the name of the club in Orlando, but we get there, and I see, like, that was my first experience seeing people my color playing dance music. Because you know, I was like, whoa, hold up. Okay, now this is it. This is what I want to do with my life. You know what I'm saying? So then I met Mike. Mike was cool. You know, I was there. You know, that's Mike Dunn, man. So he just got his own little vibe. And then from there, I think I just always had that love. And, you know, of course, being from St. Louis, before I went there, I signed my first deal before I went to Full Sail as a producer, and to a company called The Bakery, which was a sub company under the Track Stars. So we did a bunch of hip hop, like Chingy stuff. We did Pop Lock and Drop It. We did
Pop Lock and Drop It, baby.
Classic. Still goes up,
yeah, man, that's a classic, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still drop it when I can.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, so that was my like actual first professional experience working with them, and you know, being in the music industry. And then I went to Full Sail because I had a song on the radio. So this was before Full Sail. Let me go backtrack. I went to Full Sail because I had a song on the radio and that I mixed, and I mixed. And I was like, yo, I don't like the way it sounded, because I didn't know what I was doing. So I had these other guys mix it. And then I was like, you know, I still hated the way it sounded, but that song actually organically took off in Chicago, all over. And that's how I actually got signed to The Bakery. And then I was like, yo, once I got signed, I got up out of there. I was like, yo, I'm gone. I went to Orlando. I went to school finally. And just to learn how to be a better engineer, man. So I can mix my own stuff, you know? And so then, you know, go back to where I met Mike, Pro Tools instructor and everything. So then, yeah, man, I was just doing a bunch of like hip hop, pop music. It was my main thing. That was my main thing, man. Pop music. I was a pop producer because that was that mix. That was that I could be eclectic and still dance. I did a lot of dance pop. That was like my intro into producing dance music. Okay. So then I ended up coming out here. I went to Atlanta for a while, met a bunch of people, and then I met in Atlanta at a studio, Dallas Austin studio, DARP. Man, I met all these dance producers, man. I met this Corey Enemy. I met Dylan Francis. Okay. I mean, this is before Dylan was like a star. Like, so we all like just kick it in and, you know, all learning from Corey and David Guetta, learning all of this different stuff, man. So that's when I actually got into like, oh, no, hold up. This is a whole world. So it was a little bit later in the dance music when I really got it. Was like more into the EDM, like, you know, peak. But, and then my manager at the time, she was managing another DJ, Paul Oakenfold, which was a trance legend. So I learned a lot all and like just being around that lifestyle. I'm like, this is exactly. And then I had a physical dream. I went to sleep. I woke up and I had this dream that I'm like, yo, this is it. I saw myself. I ain't never seen myself in nothing like that. So I was like, oh, this is it, man. I got to do this in my life. And then, you know, life happens, man. And, you know, I got to get the money. So I'm over the hip-hop record, that pop record, this thing. So I kind of strayed away from it. And then I met this guy.
Okay.
I met this guy, which is what I needed to actually pull me back to my purpose, man, because he was in the same world. Like, yo, it was crazy. I'm like, yo, and then music influences were the same.
Yeah.
Outside of Mike, that was my early experience, but I fell in love with Deadmau5, like the actual music producers that really go hard, man. Eric Prydz, I mean, trans music. So we connected. Like, me and him immediately was like best friends, man. I was like, immediately. So, and then, you know, here we are, man. I mean, I started DJing in 2012 at the Supper Club in LA. I think that was my second gig. First gig was the kids party in Beverly Hills kids party. Then Supper Club, I did that for a while, and I just kind of bounced around, man. I had a couple residencies. And here we are, man. Now me and him are like, yo, let's get this team together, man. Like, this is it. This is thrown in our lap. We got brothers like you, even like, yo, we all together on the same page. So
for sure,
man. You know,
for sure. All right, yo, thank you guys for coming, man. Like I said, I know you guys are busy, life stuff and all that, man. Thank you for definitely coming out and supporting, for sure.
Oh, yeah, man. We're happy to be here, man. This is a blessing for sure, dude. This is a blessing for sure.
Definitely. So before we get into the music side of the house and the production, can you guys explain kind of the climates? Because I'm in San Diego right now. You guys are, you know, back and forth from Arizona, St. Louis, all that stuff, LA. Can you guys explain kind of the climate? What's the energy like? Not necessarily music-wise, but just the people's spirits in like LA and Arizona and all that, St. Louis, from the quarantine and stuff like that.
I mean, you know, for me personally, like many DJs that I know that I work with, it's like as soon as the news hit, all gigs were canceled.
Yeah.
So it went from a full month of work, 6 months of work, a full summer of work, a full year of work, to zero work. So right around the time that this hit in March, this time last year, Tao Group, they reached out to me about being the resident for the pool at the Dream Hotel. So I was sort of looking forward to that phone call. And I got the other one that, hey, it's like, I don't think there's going to be anything this year. And then, so, I mean, but again, it's like, that was all non-essential business. So it wasn't just like the DJs and everyone else. So it's like, everyone's in that same boat. I think though, like the one thing from the guys that I know, the guys that I actually interact with on a daily basis, like you gentlemen, and then my boy Eric in Vegas, our main thing right now is just maintaining our spirits, because we're used to being alone and doing things from the house and doing things from the studio. So we're used to that. So that's not foreign, but I think it's more of a mindset situation, staying motivated, feeling like there's a goal, that there's actually like something for you, something that you're working for.
Yeah.
Because as of now, everything that we're doing right now is just based on faith that the industry is going to be back in some form or shape that it was beforehand. But being realistically, I think dance music in general is, I think the world's going to switch up for a little bit. I mean, because they're shunning that big festivals and the bigger gatherings, they're really shunning that. But I think that's a blessing in disguise, because dance music, it was really built on that feeling of underground, that feeling of not being in the mainstream, that feeling of doing things in secret, but making it great. So I feel like safely, as the virus gets under control, I feel like safely things are going to go back into the underground, more grungy rave scene, which is something that I didn't get to experience much of. I mean, because being in LA, it's like you got the after hours, and I did that sort of scene as well. But I think most of LA was like the bigger venues and the glamorous venues and things of that nature. So although there's a lot of downtime right now, I think on the other side of this, I think there's going to be some real gems of like throwing your own stuff like from the ground up, and I think there's gonna be a lot of good that definitely spawns from this. But right now, I mean, the focus is maintaining your mindset, maintaining your level of creativity, being motivated. And you know what, like things like this, I mean, although this is a podcast, because I know you guys well, and because I actually respect what you guys do, it's very beautiful that this is going down, because it shows that now we've got the power.
Yeah.
If we want to do a show, if we want to do a podcast, I mean, whatever we want to do, it's like now we can do it. So, I mean, I think although it's negatively affected things monetarily as of now, I think that the other side of the virus, I think it's going to be better than where we were beforehand, if that makes sense.
For sure.
Yeah, man. The climate in LA for me and everybody I know is pretty much the same as Bert was saying. Everybody lost all their work, including me, residency, everything I had lined up. You know, like you said, non-essentials. But, you know, like same thing. I'm piggybacking off what he said. You know, there's always a positive to it. I've been spending more time with the music, you know, like producing more records, and I've been having a blast. To be honest, I'm not trying to like, you know, it's sad that people are getting sick and dying. Some people, and you know, even you like getting sick, man. That sucks. That's messed up.
Yeah, for sure.
And, but I am like, yo, I've been creative, and I've been like, even with this whole thing with this, with me and him, our vibe, we've been talking about ideas. I feel like we have the time to actually sit down and focus.
Yes.
You know? So that's been, I think, the best part, man. I kind of feel bad a little bit when I be happy. I be like, yeah, I like the quarantine, y'all, and I feel bad because I don't want. I feel like it's just that guilty pleasure feeling. But
no, you shouldn't feel bad. You don't feel bad because the quarantine. You feel you feel good because you have time to sit down. Our lives are so busy, either DJing, you know, running around doing whatever, working. Now we have time. We got to sit our ass in the house and focus on what we really want to focus on. You know what I mean?
Right, man. Yeah. And just clear my mind. And I feel like, especially living in LA, man, like, and living in Cali, period. Like, even, you know, it's just always stuff just going. It's just constantly going. And there's a lot of things that, you know, you got your pride gets in the way with this, and then you need to make this money. So you're like, oh, I got to do that. And, you know, it's just always a lot, man, which can clutter up your mind. And so, like I was saying before I met him, even when you have a passion or when you have a purpose, you were kind of like, okay, I'll do that when I get to it, just to make $1 or just to do something else, man. But I'm actually noticing and seeing the strength in myself and my brothers, you know? So it's been good as on my end of it. And I feel like, all of us, all three of us, including every other DJ I know, we lost all our like day-to-day work, but you know, there's time to plan for the next thing, man. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great, man. You know?
Yeah, me personally, I had some just in April, I had 3 gigs up there by you guys, and that shit all got canceled. You know what I mean? And not daily, I'm getting cancellations, but like, you know, every couple days, you know, ones that are going to be like in August or September and like July and stuff like that. They're like, man, we're probably not going to have it. Thank you for, you know, going to come out. We'll keep you in mind. As soon as we open things up like that, we'll keep you in mind. So that's always good too. You know what I mean? Just to have not that security, but you know, they'll have you in mind, or they'll think about you when, you know, whenever this thing opens up. You know.
Very true. I agree. And most of all the club owners and everybody they reached out and they were like, and that's why I didn't really take it. No offense. I'm like, hey, I get it. Not y'all fault. Y'all losing money too. Like everybody's in this position together. So
yeah.
I agree. Like everything seemed cool once everything is back and rolling. So, you know, just get through this part, man. And
For sure, for sure. All right, so I forgot to mention in the beginning of the podcast, these two bros right here, they are in a collective. Now this collective is one of those ones that are just it's bigger than every one single person. It's going to be huge in my opinion. The collective is called NoyzNtheHood, and these two bros right here, they are 2 of 5 of the co-founders per se. So you guys want to explain a little bit about that whole process, the history of it?
Yeah, NoyzNtheHood. It was always something that I had been thinking about. I've been sort of brainchilding, or like for the last 5 years, this has been sort of something that's been brewing in my mind.
Okay.
And when I met Mark, as well as my brother Eric Adina, that's out in Vegas now, Eric and I had been bouncing ideas back and forth about this for the last few years. And then when we met Mark, it was sort of that final blow that sealed the deal, that really made us feel like we could actually do it. I mean, not just because of his ability, but just because doing something like this it's a lot of work. It's a lot of passion, but it's a lot of work. But basically, in short, it is a collective. It is a label. It is a family. It is a support system. It is inclusive. And those are the things that we really want to stress. The name itself is a play off of Boys in the Hood, obviously. But I think it's very fitting. I mean, because we are men of color, and many of us did grow up in the hood, and that's just the real of it.
What it is. Yeah.
It is what it is. But but we all make beautiful noise, and we all make different noise, and we all make individual noise. But there's something that can be learned just about simple things like the Voltron, and the Voltron theme is like something that really stuck with me. And I was like, man, let's Voltron up, guys. Let's be bigger than what we are. Because at the end of the day, it's like, I feel like all the guys in this group, we could all do main stage ourselves. And I believe that we still will. But I also know that us as a movement, as a unit, I felt like we could do it faster and bigger and better than we could. And you know what? I think another thing, though, for me that's been very powerful is thinking about the idea. I mean, because so many musicians are like, oh, man, I want to do this thing so somebody will notice me, or that someone will sign me, or that basically it's like everything that you do is so that it can be validated by somebody bigger than you that's doing more than you, so they could bring you on their squad. But then if you think about it, it's like, if your squad is already major, then you be the squad and build that squad from the ground up. And then there's no limit. And then there's no oh man, well, I want to get signed by this and this label, which I think it could be a goal for sure. I mean, there's a lot of labels that I would love to work with. So no disrespect in that way, but it becomes more of a thing where now I'm not only working for myself, but I'm working for my brothers. And these are guys that I genuinely love, where if there's a deadline, I know that I'm actually working for them as well as myself. And for me, that's another thing that actually matters. That's another thing that actually gets me up out of bed in the morning on those days when you don't feel like finishing records, on those days when you don't feel like doing whatever. And that could be because of life. That could be because of the virus. That could be because of your girl. I mean, or your family, or yourself. I mean, it isn't. And I mean, Mark and I are both family men, and we have very supportive spouses. And it's a beautiful situation that we have. But with that, there's responsibility with it. So this brotherhood that we have, I mean, I keep on saying support system, man, but you need that. I mean, because sometimes as a DJ, especially these days, man, it's easy to feel like you're by yourself doing this. It's easy to feel like, man, nobody understands me. Like, nobody sees my vision. Like, no one helps me. Like, damn, I feel like I'm doing all this by myself, from the graphics and the visuals to the video to the mixing to the mastering to the shows and everything else that you're doing. And NoyzNtheHood has been, especially since the virus, it's been something that's been so motivating for all of us, I think, because now we're working for something that's bigger than just us. And like, that's what it is. There's more I can say about it, but I want to let Mark speak on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, obviously, you know, we on the same page. So most of the that Brett is saying is 100%. That was the purpose of it, you know. I mean, he says Voltron. Obviously, he watched Voltron. I watched Power. So you know, was the game.
I watched both.
Okay. But yeah, man, and this is something that it's been kind of weighing on me. One of my friends, man, he told me about this actually. He sent me a video with Questlove saying that, like, yo, man. And then I looked at in history, it works in teams, bro. Yep. Like, it's always been, and even my earliest love in music, I'm gonna tell you, I forgot to say that earlier, was No Limit. I was a No Limit soldier. I was so into that. I wore army fatigues every day. Like, yo, I swear, I had pictures every day in 7th grade. Like, every day, to where people would make fun of me. Yo, you wear it every day. I didn't care because I was so about that brand. I wasn't necessarily attached to Masterpiece music. The music was, you know, whatever. But it was that togetherness and that family. I was like, yo, this is dope. They got movies. They got a whole thing. So I've always yearned for that anyway. And one of the last projects I worked on, last bigger projects I worked on with like a legendary artist, we were at Village Studios in LA in Santa Monica. And I was like, yo, how, it just hit me then, you know, how am I able to work like this on my own with my people? And then that's when the ideas just started coming to me as far as actually putting it together. And you, sir, were in the idea as well. I was like, yo, these are all people that I really mess with. So it was something that me and Brett had, because to me, the NoyzNtheHood thing was him and Eric. I didn't really, I was like, yo, that's y'all. I thought that was like just a group. Like, I didn't really like, yo, that's y'all thing, you know. But then, so I was like, yo, I'll figure out something else for us all to be like a collective. And then I actually went to, Brett was spinning, and I was talking to his girl, and she was like, NoyzNtheHood. And I was like, let's do that. I was like, you know what? Why are we beating around this bush? That's a great name. It explains it. Me trying to come up with all these names, the testicles, the spectacles. I was up here coming up with everything, and nothing was sticking. I was like, yeah, this is all lame. And I felt like I just needed something to call it in order for us to, like, okay, now we can actually move up on this, you know, and actually have conversations about it and have a purpose. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it, man. This is a collective of guys that's all kind of on the same page. Like I said, spiritual, on that same frequency, you know?
Yeah. Now from the prior to the outbreak and the quarantine to now, has there any plans have been changed or necessarily like kind of rerouted the different way you guys are going to put out stuff now? Or is it going to be, you know, everything's basically still on track?
I mean, that's another thing, that the quarantine again and the virus and all this, I feel for everyone that has lost their jobs. I feel for everyone that has gotten sick. But for us personally, it has really been the catalyst for getting our shit together. Yeah. Getting organized, getting strategy ready, getting things put in place so that things actually occur. Yeah. So, I mean, prior to, it was a collective and we were sort of beating around the bush and the ideas were there and dudes were ready and dudes were, it was sort of like the 1 foot in, 1 foot out situation. Yeah. But now, since we've got the time and we've got the focus and we've got the resources and we've got all these different mediums to express this via mixes, releases, things like this, live streaming. Now there's actually more light where we can see, like, man, all we have to do is actually do it, and it will work. So from a strategy standpoint, so far, we are 4 weeks into this, and we've all dropped a mix. So Erica Dina went first. He dropped a dope Neptune's mix, and then I went, and it was more vibey, lo-fi. Mark dropped a mix of a bunch of originals that I didn't even know that he had. I mean, it's like this boy got tracks on tracks on tracks.
Tracks on tracks, man.
And then last week, my boy Jibo, who has been making music for a decade now, but like he's been more behind the scenes from like a mix engineering standpoint. But I know that he's always been like making music on the low and doing his thing. He got inspired and like he got the fire under his ass, and like he dropped a techno mix, amazing. And now you. So I'm excited for your mix this week. So our main strategy is consistency. Just making sure the wheels are turning every single week. But in addition is like we have a lot of releases. So Dre's gonna be dropping stuff. I'm gonna be dropping stuff. Mark's gonna be dropping stuff. Our boy Paul's gonna be dropping stuff. So really, as far as an outline, it's gonna be mixes every week indefinitely. And then in between that, there's going to be as many releases as we can crank out. And so far, that's going to be the crux of it. I don't know if there's anything that you want to add to that, Mark.
Not yet, man. We started off with the mixes just to like get some momentum going. I think it's been really good with that. And now I'm like, yo, let's put out the originals and let the remixes, and let's show the production as well, because that's a big part of what we all do, man. So. And yeah, that's kind of the focus, man. Just one step at a time. All right, we got to flow with that. Boom. Now let's start doing these releases. Boom. And you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Tying it all together, man. So
definitely. Yeah, I met Brett. I think I met Brett first last summer, I believe. And then I met Brett, that Mark through Brett, obviously. And then I still play that song you put out, Kiss of Love. By Sade. Like I still play that still to this day. You know what I mean? That's one of the ones where if I want to switch up the mood, or if the crowd is I'm kind of losing the crowd a little bit, I throw that on, boom, right back. You know what I mean? Because that's just a timeless classic. You know what I mean?
Appreciate you, man. Like
for sure.
Yeah, but that is a banger, Mark.
It's a banger, dog. It's a banger. Yeah, man. So like you guys saying, that's that idea of having a collective of an all inclusive thing, but working for your brother instead of work for yourself. That's one of those things where, because I'm Marine, so like since day one you learn it's not about you. You gotta put out for your fellow Marine. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. And just to piggyback on that, I think that's a core idea that we share. It's like, this is bigger than us.
Yeah.
Music and life in general, man. This is bigger than us. It's not just about me. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's not just about any one individual here. I think one of the reasons why so many of us are here on this earth in general is to be of assistance to others, to make other people's lives better. And if you can do that with your brothers that you actually share a vision with, that you share love with, that you share friends and family with, I mean, and like, that's the thing. It's like Mark's daughter's been to my house. You know what I mean? Like, things like that, where if like they need a babysitter, like they know Brett is not just a DJ homie. Like, Brett is my brother. So that in itself makes it even easier to really make sure that things are done well, because you know that you're working for someone else and you're working for a greater good than just you. So yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, man. Do you guys want to explain how you guys met the other guys in the group?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You can go ahead, Mark. Yeah.
I was going to piggyback off what you said with G, as I actually had, because I met G-Bo as an engineer at Sound City in Van Nuys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was just like the engineer for the session, and we got pictures and everything. This was years before I even met Brett.
Okay.
And then like one day I read like, yo, we at the lab. So I come to the studio, I'm like, this brother looked familiar because this is years, man. This is before my daughter was born, man. Like, so this is like 8 years or so. And I'm like, I know this brother. And then it just hit me while I was in there, like, yo, he said something. I was like, I know where it's from. So it's crazy how you always, you meet somebody, you vibe with them anyway. And then they end up being best homies with your best homie. So definitely G was that. I just want to piggyback off of the G story with that.
Sure.
Sure.
And then you said one homie, Eric, he's in Vegas.
Oh yeah. So Eric, out of all the guys, actually, G and I met first through a marketing firm. We were both working at a marketing firm called Optimist, and our focus was on Nike basketball, mainly for Kobe Bryant. So G and I were working together for a long time.
R.I.P. Kobe, man. R.I.P. Kobe.
R.I.P. Kobe.
Sure, man.
That's still a crazy situation.
Hurt. Yep.
Yeah, man. But G and I met, and basically what we had to do was facilitate new marketing merchandise for Kobe Bryant every Laker game. So I would spend about 5 or 6 hour shifts with G, and that's where like we became friends. You know, it was a genuine friendship in addition to the music stuff. So that was G. G and I met probably, I want to say 2012 or 13. I forget the year now. Eric and I met through some other friends in Vegas, because Eric was living in Vegas. At the time. I was out there partying, and I met him through some friends. And then Eric and I were like, hey, yo, I do music, you do music. Let's see if we can get something going. And back then, it's like when you meet another brother, unfortunately, if they say that they know about the dance music world, like you're kind of like, yeah, do you know? But do you really know?
Yeah, do you really know? Yeah.
So he came through to a studio because at the time I was living and working in a studio in North Hollywood. I was in between apartments, and it was a thing that made sense for me at the time. So Eric, like, he came through and I played him some stuff, and he gave me that look like, oh, okay, so you actually know about this life. And Eric's a very talented DJ and producer, a whiz on the decks, super techie. So I bonded with him. And then Mark and I actually met, man, who do we meet through, Mark? I forget this.
Who we meet through me?
Yeah.
As far as
who introduced us?
Oh no, yeah. So we met actually through one of my good friends, Adriana. She's a music manager. She had a young guy. She's like, oh, it's like a little, not a protege, but like, yo, he's trying to get into management and stuff like that. Michael Maloney. So that's one of my good friends too.
Oh, Mike. Yes.
So
Mike.
yeah. So that's how me and Brett met, actually through Mike.
Okay.
He's a music manager as well.
Okay.
And see, like, that's just the thing. It's like, I feel like I've known these dudes all my life. So I legitimately, like, I can't always remember the day that we met because I've spent so many hours with them.
Yeah.
And it's like, these are my bros, you know. It's just like, I just feel like I've always known these dudes. And then Dre and Paul, I met specifically through Mark. They had already known each other prior. So it had been at like DJ shows where Eric and Mark would be at a few shows, and then G would show up, and then they'd be in the studio together. So like the five of us have all sort of just been like circulating this little like friendship that we've had, and it's been through music, it's been through shows. And I mean, the dopest thing about it is everybody gets along.
That's
everybody, and there's never been a hiccup, and there's no ego, and it isn't like, oh well, like, he's going to shine too much and he's going to do this. And like, that's not even a thought that we have. I mean, because we can see the vision for us all. And the other really cool thing is, like, although we all share so much, we all specifically focus on a little different things, you know. Mark is a little more disco R&B vibes. G is more techno. Eric's like some hip hop, some house. Dre and Paul, you know, like they do their thing, which is a little more pop R&B, but like it's like rooted in that same stuff. So everyone's got their specific lanes, but we can all build with each other.
Yeah, of course.
So
yeah, that's good. That's good, man. That's definitely good. Yeah, I like you said that, you know, everybody has their own specific lane. Because then, you know, if person A and B and C had their own thing to do, and then you'll come together to add your guys' expertise to the masses, you know what I mean, to everybody's group and stuff like that. And then that's when the magic happens, you know, as a group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, fellas. Well, we're at the end of the podcast. Once again, I want to say thank you guys for coming in. I know you guys are busy. You guys have anything to shout out? Any new music? Any social medias from you guys or the other brothers? And stuff like that.
Yeah. So you can follow me at BRETTHARTT, Bret Hart. And then I want to shout out Eric of Dina, all one word. Follow my bro. Gbo _GBOH_. Paul is XX Press Play.
Right.
Dre is Strange Love, STRANJLOVE. And Mark is Mr. Mark Cole, COLE. And NoyzNtheHood. Please support that, follow that. Like, it's our baby. It's our, it's our love affair. It's the thing that is really gonna bring us all together. And so that is NoyzNtheHood, NoyzNtheHood. And yeah, I mean, I just want to thank you and really express to you that what you're doing is just as big as what we are doing, especially being a black man, especially being a dude that, I mean, it can feel lonely out here, man. So what you're doing is bridging the gap for all of us. And I mean, it doesn't matter if you're black, if you're white, if whatever. But I will say, man, I mean, sometimes I get that eyebrow raise when it's like, oh, wait, so you spin house? And it's like, yeah, I spin house. And thankfully that is switching up a little bit. And that's occurring because of gentlemen like yourself and because of guys like us. So I just want to thank you for having us for sure, man. Like it was dope, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm definitely welcome, man. We gotta have you guys inside studio next, man. Not just the Zoom stuff. We gotta have you guys down in San Diego.
Yeah,
you gotta pop like that, man. When this whole thing's over, for sure.
Hell yeah,
I'd love to come down.
For sure.
Anything that you want to say, Mark?
Yeah, man. Let's just stay strong with this, man. And like he was saying, this is, you know, us being black people, man. I think that, you know, it's family, friends, and your people. That's it. You do everything for them three right there. And I love my people, and I think that this is good. It shows them that y'all don't got to do that. You can have a good time and like you can do different stuff, man. And I feel like that's what I got from it. I felt more accepted. I've always been the one that's like, I don't fit in. Yeah. Because of, so I felt like once I found this, I felt accepted. And then I found brothers in it. I felt even more accepted. I felt like, I got everything. You know what I'm saying? So I want us to keep doing this, man. Like you said, man. Stay strong with it. And, we might spark, just like Mike sparked that in me and y'all got sparked. I see that stuff and you like, or even Master P, I saw that and like, yo, they together or whatever it is, like they're together and they homies. And I feel like people are always watching, man. So, For sure, man. For sure. Hey, like I said, so this podcast episode is going to get released on, not September, the 23rd of this month, April. And then and then I'm doing a guest mix for you guys, and that's getting released the next day on the 24th. So there's going to be links everywhere on my page, their pages, NoyzNtheHood page, everybody's page, links everywhere. Links on links. Let's get it.
Yeah, bro. Like I said, man, shout out to you, man. Shout out to NoyzNtheHood. Shout out to my brothers. Thank you, Mark, for doing this with me, man. You already know that I love you. Yeah, man.
For sure.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, I
Well,
appreciate
everybody, this is another episode of the All Things House podcast. Thank you for tuning in and watch out for those mixes. All right,
Yes, sir. All right, baby.